Project Leicht RS2 Quantum Syncro, Part 1. I have been so remiss in actually filming any quality video for the Quantum. Project Leicht RS2 Quantum Syncro. I apologize. I apologize. I've got a camera here. We're gonna go just up the street in it. In this video, you're gonna see like an overview. And as of right now, when I'm in the car, we've installed some more, and when I say we, I mean Kevin has and his friends have installed some more chassis bracing, basically an adjustable strut tie mount. They've also mounted the coil packs, rigid, and I believe he's fabricated a mount for the custom radiator. So everything should be locked down, and now I'll just give you a quick drive through the gears. Just even the noise that it makes going through the gears with no boost, but it makes the pure IMSA goodness. It has a Dahlbach recirculation valve, and almost sounds like it has no recirculation valve, or at least it did. Who knows? Maybe they've done some more stuff to it while I'm away. Let's drive it up into some boost. Sounds amazing. In a lot of ways, this is the story of my actual first car. The first car that I ever had. It's a Volkswagen Quantum Syncro. There's kind of a crazy circuitous story of how this car ended up back in my life. I always dreamed of having this car, but with a real 20-valve turbo 5-cylinder engine. Met this gent named Kevin, and he has made it a reality. The main question anytime you're doing a turbo engine swap is how much horsepower is it going to make? And hilariously, in doing this project and sharing it on Instagram, another guy in Germany, is the guy that built that crazy, is he in Germany?
Sweden?
Sweden. I think he is in Sweden. I think you're right. There's a guy in Sweden who built one of these that dynoed at is 800 or 780.
Something
something really crazy. So this is Kevin, who is a Honda engineer. He is not a fan of cameras, so this is going to be a challenge. He is, however, a fan of 5-cylinder Volkswagen and Audi vehicles.
Oh yeah.
So I actually met Kevin by a very now that I think about this, sort of a serendipitous event. He had built or bought a short wheelbase Audi Fox that had a 20 valve in it, and I freaked out. I came over here why was I over here?
The history there is kind of complicated. I parted out an S8, and I sold the trunk
to my
your
son. Yeah. So my son was my other son, Ethan, was practicing paint protection film, and also had this like crazy idea that he needed an S8, D2 S8 deck lid as he wanted to make a desk out of it for college. He is now out of college. So that's how long I've known you, about 4 or 5 years. My son was like, you gotta meet this guy. This guy's like more into Audi than you are, which is, that's saying something. He had this Audi Fox that I will include a picture of here. It's built, he fabricated everything under the hood of that car. Even like fluid reservoirs and everything.
Yeah.
So when it came to this, we joked like we should find a 20 valve and throw it in the Quantum. You hadn't even seen the Quantum yet, so...
So admittedly, I've wanted to do this project before I met you.
Awesome. So, I ended up finding someone that was like, hey, I'm as excited about this as you are, let's do it. And then he moved to Colorado, which sort of threw a wrench into the works, but he's nothing if not resilient. He's been flying back and forth to work at Honda anyways. In the meantime, he built this absolutely crazy, and you can pan around and get this RS6. It started as an S6 Avant,
right?
Naturally aspirated V8, automatic only. That was how they came. He bought an RS6 sedan.
She's sitting back there.
Which is also out there, which you can probably see in the background of that video, which he then swapped a naturally aspirated engine into it, plus a manual. So it's actually still a pretty cool car. but he manual 6-speed swapped, RS6 swapped this wagon. So it's a true RS6 Avant like they would have gotten in Europe. However, it's a manual, which is even better. And it's 6-speed manual?
Oh yeah.
6-speed manual. This car stock made 115 horsepower. Let's also remember that back in the day, you know, that was decent. And that was like an 8-second 0 to 60, which in the day wasn't horrible. Yeah, it was like reasonably fun car. Yeah, at 115 horsepower. With 250, it was great. It wasn't reliable, so it wasn't like, you know, it had some boost issues, but it wasn't great. The RS2 is a quick car. 4 seconds, 0 to 60, 13-ish second quarter mile. You know, reasonably quick.
For a time,
it was really fast. I mean, I remember like, someday I'll have this car, I'm going to smoke people. You know, then the last 10 years happened, and now everything's 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Everything has 600 horsepower. So this is not that. I mean, this is a lightweight, old car that is going to have some chassis reinforcement, is going to have bigger brakes. So we didn't mention it's going to have Porsche brakes. Again, very much designed and like cobbled together. Designed is probably the wrong word, but like cobbled together. It's like brake calipers from a Boxster S, right? Boxster. And then rotors from, I think it was a Macan or a Q5. I think they're from a Macan. Anyways, like very much, but it's 5-bolt and it's going to be great. And you know, to think about even just the 315-ish horsepower that a regular RS2 would make, this is going to have this has got a K26 IROS turbo, and we'll make more than that. So you know, we're targeting like 400 horsepower. If you hear 400 horsepower in the 90s, that's really exciting. Yeah. That's like some crazy Dahlbach racing madness. Now, it's not that madness. And I wasn't really wanting, to be honest, do I want flames out the exhaust? Yes. Do I want 5-cylinder noises? Yes. But do I want, you know, more power than the car can take? Not really. So, you know, going to a bigger turbo, having more lag, you know, having to build the bottom end with, you know, forge this and titanium that, wasn't really. You may also know I'm building a Lotus Esprit right now, so like the bank account's really challenged right now. We'll talk about that in another video. But you know, we wanted to kind of have it a concise build. The other thing I'd say, and it's the opposite of my Lotus project. We're now 2 years, and I don't even know where some of the parts are. So like, I'm sort of making this video introduction as like a thank you, because, and also if you're ever going to do a project like this, you really want a detail-oriented guy, you know, that knows, you know, here's this control arm and this turbo, and because it would not have happened. When I say this wouldn't have happened without him, I mean that like in several ways. Like, it wouldn't have happened physically because I can't do this, but it also wouldn't have happened just because like lots of people can put an engine in a bay, but not a lot of people can, like, I mean, engineer. You're an engineer, so I really think that's the difference. And so this is an exciting project. I do think it's going to come to completion in the near future, which will be much more enjoyable and satisfying for you than the Lotus project, to which I get emails almost daily, or text messages or message DMs about like what's going on with that. Sometimes I don't even know. This battery box done, exhaust done.
Get a small enough battery.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your hookup. You have enough room. Yeah, if you do that, you have enough room to do some like.
Yeah, and still
some kind of storage space back there.
That's cool. Now he has this RS6 Avant in the un-RS6, as I like to call it. Very technically proficient. When it came to this project, even though he was going to Colorado, he's like, we'll get it done. And surprisingly, already, project Leicht RS2 Quantum Syncro is getting close. We've got And a lot of other people were pretty excited about this. The Quantum Syncro, which is the Passat B2 in Europe, is sort of a loved car in the Volkswagen Audi community. It's essentially, and I say essentially because we know now from doing this project that it's not,
no,
but it's essentially an Audi 4000 in that it's a small B2 chassis all-wheel drive car. That's sort of where that ends. You know, Syncro is not Quattro. There's differences.
I mean, essentially the front end of the car is an Audi 4000. The rear end is kind of a weird mix match of like VW parts bin.
Yeah, and there is a lot of parts bin. We've been very... Thankfully, other people are interested in this project because people have basically been like, hey, I can try to make you some suspension bits, or try this and try that. This is the first project I've ever done where I'm not an engineer at all. I'm not a mechanic at all. And so when we were talking about suspension, Kevin was talking about harmonic frequency resonance, which I never thought about suspension in terms of like frequency. And I'm a music producer by trade, so it's kind of funny that never really occurred to me. Anyways, he's giving me spring sizes, spring rates, damping, all this stuff, which I then gave to a friend, Glenn, who used to be, I think, the director at KW, owns a company called SoloWorks, also does other suspension things. No, SoloWorks does not make a Quantum Syncro kit, so don't ask him. No, KW does not make a Quantum Syncro kit, so don't ask him. We've kind of got a hodgepodge of Quattro dampers, some custom springs. Because essentially what this is a 3B engine with an AAN wiring harness, essentially, ignition system.
Yeah, AAN management.
And then this is a Wagner tuning for you Americans. There's like some RS2 thinking here. My whole kind of concept with the car was like, what if Audi did a RS2 thing with Porsche sort of earlier, sort of before the B3 era. And so this is, the cool thing here is this car weighs in 2,900, 2,800, something like that.
2,900 when we weighed it.
2,900 pounds. We're probably going to be in around that same area once it's finished. The RS2, probably should have looked this up. I want to say it's 36 or 35.98 or something like that. It's 35. I'm pretty sure it's 35.98. It could be 36.98. It's under 37. We're going to be about 700 pounds lighter, and much shorter gear ratios. And more horsepower. Not a ton more horsepower. I kind of wanted, reliability's somewhat important because I'm not a mechanic. The head is built. That was a long process. The bottom end is stock, which even back in the 90s, people had 200s with 300,000 miles on them. Stock bottom end making 400 plus horsepower. Yeah, everything's come together really, really pretty interestingly. I have been totally remiss in putting a video out on this. I've done a couple TikToks. I've done some stories on my Instagram. I realized about a week ago that I had never even posted a picture on my Instagram of this thing. Now it's like, really, this is more done than I would have ever dreamed this could be happening. One thing that was important to me is that a lot of times when people do swaps into older cars, particularly like it's popular to do V8 swaps in this chassis, and B2, B3s, engine swaps are popular. They consider the front of the car sort of like throwaway. This car does not have any chassis rigidity. If you've ever jacked up a Quantum or a 4000, you can jack it up and like the door won't close. So this is not a paragon of chassis rigidity. So deleting, the core support or deleting any body parts was kind of like not really what I wanted to do. The thing is, I mentioned earlier in this that I had a 10-valve MC Quantum that was built at extreme expense by a company that, I'll just say it was ECS Tuning before it was ECS Tuning. They were called Eurocar Service. And someone had paid them $65,000. I never even told you this. To put a 10-valve turbo in this car. And it was like the most ungood swap ever because it used like WX parts, so it had like a Quattro intake. It was just like, it never quite ran right. It looked cool, it was low miles, but the battery relocation was kind of a hatchet job. everything was sort of like, that wasn't really their forte. Their forte, Eurocar service, was maintaining cars and selling parts, which then became very successful. Excellent. Well, I found my missing GoPro, and look at this attention to detail. Let's get a little closer here. This is what I'm talking about. This is why every other build I've ever done has been total drama island. And this one has been actually no drama.
I mean, I did catch something that would prevent to start there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm banking on this. This will start the first try.
Oh, okay.
I'm not putting money on it.
Okay, yeah. Never put money on it. Well, Kevin doesn't know it, but today's the day when we're going to start up Project Leicht RS2. Are we going to start it?
Oh, we're going to start it.
Oh, what's up?
Boss and everything.
Delbach. If you've ever watched the Delbach videos from the late 90s, where they've got the Sport Quattro and then a converted Golf that is running a 20 valve, and it goes similar sounds will be made by this car. Probably about 15 pounds less boost, but that's okay. We want the bottom end to live. Wow. Vibrating because there's a whole bunch of things that are on the engine that aren't currently connected. So, sounds good. We're going. Kevin was just saying that no one would ever appreciate that he hard mounted the aux water pump.
Oh yeah. I mean, even on video, maybe.
Right there. It's, it's the little things. It's the little things. And I'm regretting that I now have to spend more money to replace this radiator, because now that everything else is shiny and nice, this just looks low rent. And it's also extremely thin. And we're also now contemplating a remote secondary radiator where the RS2 has one. So why not? What? What? So it runs.
It does run.
That's a fun surprise. That's a super fun surprise. She's come out. Look at that.
I thought I'd keep you in the dark a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea. Do you still want me to watch your car?
I mean, that'd be great, but that was really just this diversion.
Oh, what a nice thing. Wow, dude, that just made my day. I had no idea. I mean, honestly, like, that's car.
I didn't know where to put your check engine light because you don't have one.
That's so funny.
So your shift light is now your check engine light.
I love it. Yes, OBD2.
Yeah, and I am still working on the actual wiring of this thing. But, one sec.
Recording yet, so.